So you just received a slim box just like this one containing your new Beam 3D Prism. The purpose of this video is to give you a quick overview of the menus as well as a quick step-by-step guide on how to start your first print fast. Our first steps is to unbox the printer, remove the protective foam and strapping, and finally plug in to power it up. So let's do that. A quick note here, when you power up, you might hear the whine of an electric motor. Don't worry about that. That's just the auto leveling mechanism resetting itself and is perfectly normal. First off, the navigation is handled with 3 buttons on the right of the screen. The top and bottom buttons toggle up and down or right and left depending on the menu. The middle button is used to select. Since it's a fresh boot, the Prism will prompt you to connect to the Wi-Fi. You can choose to skip this prompt by simply hitting the middle button. This will reveal the home menu that has 3 options. Print, which is where you go to initiate a print, such as the ones loaded on your SD card for instance. Profile, which is where you can load and store resin profiles that you can quickly select and use to override the settings on your existing sliced files. This is a more advanced function which we'll cover in depth in a future tutorial, which you can find a link to in the description below. Control, which will take you to various utilities for the printer. Let's take a closer look at utilities and what functions are in that menu. The first option is the Z-axis. This is your manual control to jog the build plate up or down using the top and bottom buttons to toggle up and down respectively. Home allows you to home and auto level the print bed in the vat. Starting a new print will also initiate homing prior to exposing the first layers. Clean. This function activates the UV LEDs and the LCD, allowing light to pass through the entire build area. Generally, this is used for 2 purposes. First, testing the LCD and the LEDs to determine if there is any problems or damage to either, and to cure any UV resin that might have gone on the screen for easier removal with a scraper. Under no circumstances should you activate the clean feature with a vat full of resin, nor an unclean build plate, as the light will cure both, creating a mess that is difficult to clean. The last of the 4 options is Test, which activates a built-in resin calibration finder, which we recommend using every time you use a new resin to determine the optimal layer exposure times for your prism. Clicking the down button once more and then hitting the middle button takes you back to the main menu. Okay, let's get a print started. First off, you will need to fill the vat with resin. We recommend that you home the printer first, then pour in the resin. Do not fill past the bottom of the bevel or you risk the resin spilling over. Then jog up the build plate just slightly to allow the resin to settle fully at the bottom of the vat. From there, you're free to start the print. Simply select Print from the home menu. Then navigate to the object listing you want to print and select it with the middle button. In the next screen, the Prism will verify what profile you want to use. If you have the correct profile sliced, then simply just use the default option and continue on. For the sake of keeping this tutorial short and simple, we'll assume that you used Box or another SLA slicer to slice your 3D model. We will cover slicing in another tutorial soon, link in the description below. Remember, the Prism can handle a wide range of outputs including Photon, CWS, and Chidu files to name a few formats. From there, the print should start homing and its auto leveling sequence, and after that, it'll start printing. Keep in mind you don't have to worry about leveling at any point because the Prism takes care of that with the auto leveling mechanism. At any point during the print, you have the option to pause, cancel, or adjust the base or layer exposure times and increase or decrease the print raise height between layers. And there you go. You've successfully started a print with the Beam 3D Prism.